Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Atlanta Business Radio. Brought to you by OnPay. Built in Atlanta, OnPay is the top-rated payroll and HR software anywhere. Get 1 month free at onpay.com. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Atlanta Business Radio, and this is going to be a fun one. Today on the show, we have Gavin Cicchinelli with PrimeRevenue. Welcome, Gavin.
Thank you, Lee. Great to be here. Appreciate the time to chat.
Well, before we get too far into things, tell us a little bit about PrimeRevenue. How are you serving folks?
So PrimeRevenue, we are a working capital and B2B payments organization for the global supply chain. We are a Fintech company that buyers and their suppliers utilize and plug into to be able to transact on time and early payments. So we are a global payment rail that facilitates cash flow.
So what's the backstory on PrimeRevenue? Was this how you were always set up to be, or is it something that's kind of evolved to this point? Because Fintech's always kind of evolving and pivoting.
No, great question. Actually, yes, our underlying technology has always been built on a gateway payment rail, which is the fascinating part of our organization. So from a Fintech perspective, we were kind of born out of natural Fintech. From there, we've continued to add and generate investments into the product and the platform and expand across global reaches that, over the last 18 years of PrimeRevenue as an organization has built a pretty tremendous a global payment rail, if you will, for, again, on-time and early payments for anyone who has a supply chain and any large buyer client or small buyer client who has a need for working capital.
And then now tell us about this SurePay platform.
Sure. So very exciting. We just sent out a great press release last week on our release of our new SurePay platform. And what that really means, Lee, is that the SurePay platform is an easy-to-use marketplace, if you will, of our products. There are 3 core products that sit within that platform. One is called supply chain finance, which is a traditional long-term, working capital solution that's been used for years and years and years in the trade finance markets. The second is dynamic discounting. That is an opportunity for our buyer customers in their supply chain to be able to offer discounts to their suppliers in exchange for an early payment. And then our most exciting and recent release is our on-time payment. This is where we've really taken a massive investment this year in our product platform to start to solve account payable problems for buyers and suppliers and how they interact within the supply chain and getting on-time payment. So if a customer, for instance, a supplier, has an agreement they'll get paid in 30 days for the products they sold to a larger entity, they'll onboard to our platform and we'll make sure and ensure that the accounts payable process pays them exactly on time in 30 days. So there's no cash flow issues. So that's our most recent release in the broader SurePay platform.
So when you're kind of launching a marketplace like that, it's a chicken and egg. Is it difficult for you to get both sides of the equation involved on the platform?
Wonderful question. The unique advantage that we have as PrimeRevenue is, again, after 18 years of really establishing a long-term name in the traditional trade finance and supply chain finance market, which is, again, a fancy word for just working capital, early payment, if you will. We have been able to build such a tremendous network of incredibly valuable customers and clients. Where the evolution of this SurePay platform came from is direct feedback from 18 years worth of working with our customers. We realized that we could solve so many additional problems with our product that we, with some investment, just hadn't done in the past. So in our scenario, the good news is it hasn't been the chicken and egg per se. We've built a great foundation that now we can just continue to solve additional problems for not only our existing customers, but any customer that's got account payable issues, across their supply chain.
Now, when you say any customer, is it any customer of a certain size, or is it truly any customer?
It's truly any customer. We typically, we work anywhere from customers that are, 50 million in annual revenue up to, well over 2 billion in annual revenue. So our platform is scalable. especially in the on-time and account payable platform. Supply chain finance, does have a third-party component with our banking that has to be qualified. But for the SurePay platform and our B2B payments process, it really is scalable for any customer that's got a supply chain.
So now, talk about the Atlanta fintech scene. How have you seen it evolve?
Oh, that is a question that I could talk about for hours and hours and hours. Atlanta has become a tremendous hotspot. I don't know what the most recent percentage of payments that flow through Atlanta is on a global scale anymore. I knew at one point it was somewhere around 75% of the world's transactions flow through Atlanta. So we're happy to be, homestead in Atlanta, continuing to grow, invest, and provide career opportunities for the Atlanta market. We continue to offer, and we have actually open positions now as well. So please check out our website for that. But the expansion of fintech and payments in Atlanta just continues to grow. I worked for a couple even former organizations there in the Atlanta home base. So it's exciting to see not only the growth of payments, but the expansive growth of Atlanta kind of becoming that hotbed, if you will, for fintech and B2B payments.
Now, why do you think that ecosystem within fintech is so strong in Atlanta?
It's talent. It is resources. And what a great place to be in Atlanta with, just able to travel to a lot of different global continents. We have offices in Hong Kong. We have offices in Europe and London. We've got an office in Australia. And so, you think about being able to kind of centrally locate and work across the globe. Atlanta's a great spot, not only time location, but to interact with other fintech companies that also operate in some of those markets. It just really creates a great unity across our buyers and our partners and our vendors.
So now, how does the crypto kind of excitement impact what your work? Like, is there anything in there for you, or is that something you're looking at, or part of a roadmap?
Sure. Great question. We get that question a lot from anytime you mention payments. The next question is always crypto and all of that. Here's what I would answer is the space that we're playing in today. The short answer is no. The part of crypto that does make sense is more the ledger-based, infrastructure of seeing where a payment's made and how that continues to evolve in more of a ledger-based payment system and methodology. But today, the problems we're solving with our SurePay platform are not crypto related. They're truly solving for manual processes that a lot of supply chains are working through today and making them automated so that you gain efficiency in how a buyer customer pays all of their suppliers that they buy products from. And so we're really excited about not only that continued automation, but then if there's ever a need, Lee, for one of those buyer customers to have to unlock capital to make reinvestments in their business, we're able to do that as well and provide what I would say on a massive giant scale, large cash advances, if you want to think of it that way, to not only suppliers, but to buyer entities, in how they can unlock capital and ultimately reinvest. So we're solving a different part of the ecosystem beyond the crypto.
So now, what is kind of the problem that they're having right now where your solution is the solution for them? Is it like, are there symptoms where if they're having kind of certain issues that they should contact the PrimeRevenue folks? Like, what are some clues that there might be a better answer to what they're doing?
Oh, great question. Thank you for that. I'm going to answer that in two ways. If you're a customer, meaning a supplier, and you're selling your products to larger buyer entities, our platform has an accounts payable process in it that your buyer and you as a supplier can join our platform, and the buyer will pay you through our platform versus manual mailed checks, versus wondering, did they approve the invoice of all the products that they bought from me? Oftentimes a supplier will submit an invoice for 30,000 units, that somebody bought from them. And the visibility of when that invoice got approved for payment and when the payment is scheduled to be made is kind of a black hole for a lot of companies right now. So that's where our platform gets to plug in those two connective tissues and say, once an invoice is approved by the buyer entity, the supplier who sold those products gets to see that entire visibility cycle of when the payment's coming, when it's going to be in their bank account, and when that invoice got approved. The other client and customer that would be a great opportunity, and we'd love an opportunity to talk to, is if you're a buyer entity that you buy products from other suppliers, we'll put your entire supply chain on our platform and we'll tech enable your entire supply chain. And what that will allow you to do is pay all of your suppliers through our platform in one fell swoop. Generally, we've seen in the research that an average invoice in a manual nature that a buyer has to make costs about $15 per invoice, give or take. Our platform can save substantial money in doing that through the automation of it, because you're not having to answer and field thousands of phone calls in a month from all of your customers saying, when am I going to get paid? Is the check in the mail? Did you approve my invoice? And then lastly, Lee, we are a great place for a customer and a buyer to come if they've got a need to run a supply chain finance program, where essentially, we can help a buyer unlock working capital to go reinvest back in their business. So we like to think we really run the gamut of what the B2B payments ecosystem needs, whether it's early payment through supply chain finance, dynamic discounting, or on-time payment through really our platform solving, account payable processes in the supply chain.
Now, what percentage of folks are doing this still manually? That kind of shocks me a little bit.
It did us as well, which is, kind of hence the launch of our platform. I don't know the numbers exactly, but as of late, I would say on a global scale, it's still about 45% to 50% of buyers and suppliers are communicating in a manual nature. In fact, what we've heard as we did diligence with even our own customers, meaning our own buyer clients as a customer, is that in most cases, the buyer customer is using a different supplier portal versus a different invoicing vendor versus a different vendor for supply chain finance versus a different vendor for dynamic discounting. So you can kind of see the picture that I'm painting. Really our platform is a one-stop shop now. And so that's where helping to solve not only the fragmentation of multiple vendors, but the 40 to 50% of folks that are out there still handling manual payment processes and mailing checks. A big challenge for buyers, Lee, is that to get all of their suppliers, let's say you have 1,000 suppliers you buy products from across the world, validating the bank account to make sure it's the right bank account to pay in an automated fashion. Just imagine that process across 1,000 suppliers in your ecosystem. We take that lift off and we handle all that for you. So if you don't have validated bank accounts, you can never get out of the stage of cutting manual checks and having a manual process. So just those simple steps along the way is really how our SurePay platform solves problems.
So what's next for you guys? How do you see 2022? What's your forecast? Especially, I mean, I know you're using the word supply chain maybe differently, but then what's in the news with supply chain? But it sounds like there's a lot of turbulence in that world.
There is. That's a great point. And that's actually where we can help to eliminate some of that friction. When there are restrictions in supply chain, we can help to unlock capital. So if you're a buyer entity out there that are having challenges in getting, your suppliers, have the right products, have enough products, demand of products, give us a call, because we can definitely help unlock capital to infuse that back into your supplier and supply chains to free these things up. But what's next really for us in 2022 is really continuing just to accelerate our SurePay platform. We're very excited to create and deliver ongoing value to our supplier customer and our buyer customer in solving working capital and on-time AP payment solutions. So we've got, since the press release, just an immense response, from not only new customers, but our existing customers saying, hey, tell me more about this. We're excited. We've known PrimeRevenue has done great things for the last 18 years, but we're hungry for more products from what you guys have on your platform. So we're going to be busy in 2022, no doubt.
So if somebody wants to learn more, have more substantive conversation with you or somebody on the team, what's the website?
Website is PrimeRevenue, all one word.com. Check us out. There's a contact us form if you're interested in learning more and buying the platform and what the platform can do for you to solve a problem. If you're looking for a new career opportunity, check our page out there as well for careers and see what positions we have open. But we're in a very exciting time and a cool transformative time for us as an organization in the world that we live in. So please check us out.
Well, congratulations on all the success. Thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Thank you, Lee, for having me, and have a great Halloween.
All right. This is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on Atlanta Business Radio.